welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Mark Taub as well as Dr. Karen Forehand. Now, each of them have their roles. In fact, we have Dr. Taub is the medical director of emergency services at Saddleback Medical Center. And then Dr. Forehand is the manager of Neuroscience Institute, as well as the director of the ICU Nurse Practitioners Program. Boy, that's a mouthful for both of you, but thank you both for being here with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Taub, since the last time we spoke, I know you guys were prepping for the COVID-19 patients to come in, and we talked a lot about the safety measures. But before we go into what we're going to talk about today, tell me what may have changed since then.
Well, Lisa, thanks for asking. It's nice to catch up. It feels like forever since we talked last, but it's really just been 2 weeks. So things do feel a lot better. We've been so lucky in Orange County compared to some of our neighboring counties. As far as the number of cases we've seen, they've been much less than elsewhere. We've also seen a flattening of the cases, which is good to see. However, there still are plenty of cases out there. So one message we talked about last time we spoke is I still want to mention to our Laguna Woods residents, don't let down their guard. It's important to stay vigilant as far as social distancing, avoiding crowded areas, wearing their masks when they're out in public. So that's all very important. But again, things are starting to look better now. We're feeling like we're making it through this. Now, there was an interesting thing that happened that none of us expected. Not only we didn't see a surge in Orange County or in our hospital, but we've actually seen our emergency room patient volume down 50%. So we're actually seeing half the patients we saw before COVID. And that concerns me and it worries me because I wonder, are our Laguna Woods residents at home injured? Are they sick? Are they scared to come to the hospital? And I hope today we can share some of the safety measures we've put in place so they can feel totally confident coming here because we're the ultimate essential service. We're here to help them right now. So we want to make sure they know where to go when they need help.
Right now, some of the things that you were seeing people before were normal things that you would see in an ER, heart attack or stroke or something along those lines, or they got in an accident or whatever the case might be. So with that said, how can people stay home if they are having some sort of heart problem? I mean, wouldn't they have to come to the hospital?
Yeah, and so we don't quite understand where the patients are going or what they're doing, but we want to let people know, just like before COVID, if you're having chest pain, if you're having signs of a stroke, which Karen will talk more about later, if you're having high fevers or shaking chills, if you're confused, if you've fallen and injured yourself like your hip and you can't get up, you need to come to the hospital so we can take care of you. And again, you're going to be safe when you come here because we put so many safety measures in place. So please don't stay home if you're sick or injured. Let us help you.
Well, let's talk about some of those safety measures that you were talking about. I mean, I know you are not the only group. I mean, everyone is taking the precautions necessary. And, you are one of our hospitals that are the first ones that people will go to here in our area. So tell me some of the measures that you are doing.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So we've got a number of measures in place. And actually, we put a lot of this in place for anyone else in the state or the county or the country. So we're really proud of what we put in place. And it's really strong because we really want to protect our citizens. So I'd say there's 5 major things we're doing. So the first thing is before anyone comes into our hospital, whether it be a patient, a doctor, or a nurse, we screen their temperature.
Okay. Their forehead. Okay.
For Karen, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And we also check for symptoms of possible COVID disease. So everyone gets screened. And if they have those symptoms, they'll go to a separate care area. The second thing we put in place was every single person who comes into the ER, hospital, or other care areas, they will wear a mask. If you have your own mask, you can bring it, but every single person will get a mask and hand hygiene for everyone. So important. So that's our second measure.
Okay.
The third measure we put in place is we have separate care areas. So we have 3 care areas now, very separate and defined with separate staff members. So we have what's called our green area, which are people with non-COVID related things like heart attacks, strokes, hip fractures. So they're in their separate, clean, organized area. We now have another area called the orange area, which is where people might have fevers, chills, cough, symptoms of COVID or other infectious diseases that now we're going to test and determine if they actually do have coronavirus. Okay. And then the third area is the purple zone, where people who actually are found to have coronavirus, and there's so few here, it's really just a handful a week. They'll be in their separate areas where they get the best possible care, but also we keep everyone separated so that other patients don't get ill, our staff members don't get ill, but we don't bring it home to our families. And then the last thing that we do is we have our rapid COVID testing So this is a swab that we do. It's in the mouth, not terribly uncomfortable. And we actually can get results in just a matter of minutes now. And, when we talked last, we were, I think it was still about a week it was taking us to get results. So that's changed everything for us. Okay. And then the last thing I did want to talk about is our staff members were being so careful to have proper what we call PPE, personal protection equipment. And I actually just wanted to show people what that would look like so they know when they come here what they would see. So Karen is one of our nurses today in our green zone. So these are just, again, if you had chest pain, shortness of breath, things like that. So I'll have Karen, one of our wonderful RNs here.
Okay. So she's sporting a white mask that is definitely going to prevent her from getting something, as well as giving it to the patients, be it a cold or whatever the case might be.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And
okay.
It's also done great hand hygiene before and after every single patient.
Perfect. All right, good. That's great. Thank you.
So again, it's our usual nurses, and it's not scary. We just have a mask on. And frankly, that's something I think we've learned about with COVID. We could do a lot better hand hygiene, masking, patients, staff members, all of us. So that's a good thing.
Well, now, any virus though, right? I mean, if people have the flu, they can still wear those masks, correct?
We may see that coming up in the flu season. I think everyone, the whole world's learned a lot about that. And so it'll help with the flu, all those kind of things. So that's good. And then now, if you do come in with a fever or chills or a cough or signs that you may have coronavirus, then you would be in our orange area. Again, a separate area, comfortable, clean, your own separate nurses who are experts in treating this and our doctors. And I wanted to show you Sabine, just so you know if you went there, what you'd be seeing. It's really nothing scary. It's just what we would call heightened protective equipment.
Okay.
So, Sabine.
So yeah, so she's got the gloves and then what do they call it's just a gown? Okay, and then the whole thing. Okay, got it. And then what's on your head? Oh, you've got a little thing on your head too. Okay. Well, I think we've seen a lot of that across all of the stations these days. Good job.
Yeah. And so again, we've got those 5 major measures and a lot of other things, but that's the big 5 things we have so that Laguna Woods residents, if they're ill or injured, they can come to our ER and feel comfortable. We're going to make them better and not cause them to get sick.
And also, if they cannot come physically on their own, then they can still call 911 and an ambulance is going to come and get them.
Absolutely. You should always call an ambulance if you're, highly concerned, and especially if you're having a stroke or something of that sort.
Okay, perfect. And then, how should they go ahead and, approach the emergency room? I mean, when they come to the front, is there someone that's going to greet them and direct them? I know you said you take their temperature, but will they direct them where they need to go?
Yeah, so if they call an ambulance, 911, they'll all be protected. They'll ask them appropriate questions to determine if they might have coronavirus. But again, it's so rare now. If you come to the ER, we've got a nurse and security waiting out front, and they're going to greet you out front. And we have all the proper questions, check your temperature, give you the mask. If you have a mask at home, come with that, wearing that, if you're concerned you have an infection. And so everything's in place to help patients know exactly what to do when they get here.
Perfect. That's great. Now, I know that you mentioned stroke as something, people might be experiencing or are really not necessarily either not knowing about what they need to do or not knowing what the symptoms are. So Karen, can you tell me some of the symptoms of a stroke?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So I like to remember the symptoms of stroke through the acronym BFAST. So B stands for balance. Is there a lack of balance or coordination? E is for eyes. Do we have a change in vision or a gaze deviation? F is for face. Is there a facial droop present or is the face unequal? A is for arms. Is the person able to raise both arms or is there weakness on one side? S is for speech. Is there slurred speech? Does the speech make sense? And T, of course, is time, because time is very, very important. Call 911, get the person experiencing any of these signs and symptoms of stroke here so that they can get treatment and reduce deficits.
And if you wait too long, what does that actually mean for the patient?
if you wait too long, we have a very limited time frame that we can give a clot-busting drug called TPA or alteplase. We have about 3 hours to administer that medication, 4.5 in some cases, but usually about 3 hours to administer that medication. And what that does, it breaks up the clot and again reduces deficits. Another treatment that we can do is a thrombectomy, which is a clot retrieval. That usually we have up to 24 hours to do a procedure like that.
Mhm. And is there a difference between a man and a woman experiencing symptoms?
Well, the symptoms are pretty much the same for men and women. However, women may have some additional symptoms like generalized weakness, they may have shortness of breath, they may have seizure activity, lightheadedness, vertigo, and sometimes nausea and vomiting.
Okay, good to know. And then who, of course, is at risk of a stroke? Our community is 55 and over. I would imagine they fall within the parameters of the ages, but it's not necessarily just older folks, correct?
No, it's not. Stroke can happen at any time during the lifespan. However, yes, patients that are greater than 65 years old or women are at higher likelihood to have a stroke. Women, because we live longer, is why we are at higher risk. There are modifiable risk factors, however, and those modifiable risk factors are controlling your blood pressure, controlling your high cholesterol, managing diabetes and heart disease and AFib especially, as well as not smoking and being active and eating a healthy diet.
Well, and now if you look at some of the comorbidities in which the COVID-19 is attached to, many of what you just mentioned are many of the comorbidities that people are suffering from COVID-19. So in your opinion, would you agree that modifying or monitoring all of the things you just mentioned not only prevents stroke, but could prevent you from potentially getting COVID-19?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So it's very important to manage those diseases so that you prevent stroke and heart disease and, of course, COVID as well.
And then earlier, Dr. Taub was talking about if you do think you have symptoms of a stroke or a heart attack, you can come to Saddleback Hospital and they have all of the different things in place. What would you suggest they do upon entering Saddleback?
Saddleback. So again, they're screened here before they are placed anywhere in our emergency department. We really need to know when that last known well time is. So that is extremely important to us. The best thing you can do is call the paramedics, because the paramedics will obtain all that information and give it to our emergency staff and our emergency physicians. So that's the best thing you can do.
That's perfect. I mean, it's such a different time. I mean, we wouldn't normally have to go through all of these types of questions and procedures. I mean, I know you have your normal procedures that you would go through, but this just is adding, like a whole nother level of questioning. So it's good that you guys are prepared. Any last things from either one of you that you'd like to mention?
Well, I just say, for me, thanks again, Laguna Woods, for doing such a good job. I mean, literally 8 patients still for this whole crisis. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't let up your guard. But it seems like the sun's coming out for us now, so we can start getting out a little bit safely. And please, if you're ill or injured, we're here to help you. Don't be scared. We're essential service. We've got all the safety measures in place for you, our partners in Laguna Woods. So please come and let us help you.
Perfect. And Karen?
Definitely. Yes. So, we're here. We have specialized teams that can take care of stroke. We're certified in taking care of any stroke-like symptoms. So don't stay at home. Please come if you develop any stroke symptoms.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you both very much. I appreciate you taking the time. You guys stay healthy out there, and thank you for all that you do.
Thanks, Lisa. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
And we'll be right back after this.